Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Today, I am talking to the owner of Melinda Colón Consulting, and she's also the co-founder of Fortis OBM Proposal Development. So, what they do is they help service-based business owners, especially in construction, engineering, and consulting, to secure lucrative government and corporate contracts. So, I'm excited to be rocking out today with Melinda. Hey, Melinda, you ready to rock?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go.
I love it. So, we always start off on a good note. So, tell me a story of success that we can be inspired by.
So, when I was in corporate America, the number one thing that I did was what I do now. And it wasn't sexy. You know how, like, when you're doing something for a really long time and someone asks you, what do you do? Like, how do you get the result that you get? And you're just like, I have no idea. Like, it just kind of, I can't even track it. I don't even see that it's important or valuable.
Mm,
And fast forward, what happens? I open my business, start working and serving people that needed this service, that this consulting, this strategy to win corporate and government contracts. And I found that this was amazing. Like small businesses are able to compete with huge giants in the marketplace
hmm
and just transform their life without just burning themselves
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? It's
out.
it's getting to be more and more like that. That's actually what excites me about even just this podcast is to inspire more people to see that that is possible now. You can actually be a small business and compete with the big guys nowadays.
In fact, I think honestly, Tim, it's a benefit because a big business, really think about it, a big business can't do the branding, the relationship, the connection that a small business can.
Yeah.
We have a lot of benefits and we often overlook them because we're small and
Mm.
we're in an environment where big matters, like big is the best. But actually, small is better, more intimate, more connectedness, more relationships. Like we're not in a big forum right now. It's just you and me talking to your community, and it feels really effortless. And someone gets to get value wherever they are, whether it's at work during their lunch break or driving home, pick up the kids at soccer, even just doing a load of laundry at home. And so, what the goal is here is to really build real relationships with real people in real spaces. And at the end of the day, that's what is so exciting about running a business and having flexibilities. So we're not really structured or controlled by a cubicle per se. It's like we get to create our own control.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, even just think about our own experiences when we go into we try to contact a company. I mean, how often do we try to talk to somebody? Hey,
Oh my
now it's even
gosh.
talk to a person, but let alone a person with some decision-making ability, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for like the reCAPTCHA, when you go to a website and it says
Uh-huh.
like, are you human? Like, are you a robot? I'm just waiting for that to roll out on phone because you just don't know anymore.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're talking to a person or not. And so I think that's another benefit that we have as small businesses is we get to scale with relationships.
Yeah. You know, that would be funny is that if we could have like the reCAPTCHA on our phone so that when a company calls
Yeah.
us, are you human?
Yeah.
If you're human, maybe I'll talk to you.
Exactly. I love it.
Right on. So now, along with the good notes, sometimes there's some things that don't go as planned. And I like to talk about those just to make sure that people understand that, things are going to happen and that's normal and we shouldn't be scared of that. That's no reason to not
Yeah.
start your business, right? And
Yeah.
I'm wondering, can you share with me some big mistake or something that just didn't go as planned for you?
When I was preparing for this conversation, I was thinking about just like more of like a heroic story where it was terrible and then it got better like immediately. And I thought to myself, that's not real life.
Mm,
And we touched on it a little bit earlier about failure. And failure isn't real. And I'm going to tell you why. So when I started my business, it was success from the start. And that's not common in my type of world, right? Like in consulting, it's not common for you just to like run once you get started. But I was just using my mastery, something that I had already practiced and perfected nearly 2 decades and just applied it to small businesses. That's all
mm,
I was doing. So it was easier for me to transition. And so that's a note for anybody that's listening is the thing that you might want to do is not far away from what you can start with. And I thought to myself, well, I have to start my business, and this is the only thing that I can do. And that made me feel really overwhelmed and stressed. And so even though we were getting the clients and the retainers and we were making way more money than, a lot of businesses were making that were at our, at our size and age of business, I still felt like disconnected from my business, to be honest. And it felt like, gosh, I'm going to have to work harder. Like, it doesn't feel fun. Like, I thought entrepreneurship is going to be fun. Like, where is the fun part? When am I going to get to that? Well, I took my eye off the ball because I started paying attention to things that I wanted to do in that season and didn't understand. This was before I really locked into, just understanding business principles and strategy and hiring a coach and being a part of a mastermind. These are all so important. And what I did is I just kind of said, you know what, I know better. I know everything. I didn't say it like to myself, you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of believed it and I acted in that way. Well, what happened is, as a strategist, I saw a tsunami coming and I ignored it because I thought to myself, well, it's okay. What I built, I really didn't like it anyway. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't value it. And just, it just honestly didn't happen overnight, but it felt like it did. And so what happened is, during a period of time where our retainer clients that were locked in for 12 months, paying 4 to 5 figures for each retainer, suddenly locked out. They emailed me, called me, said, Melinda, we can't pay anymore. And it happened all within 48 hours. And it felt like I failed. Like, oh my goodness, what about my team? I have to pay my team and I got to pay myself. And who's going to pay all these expenses? And well, I mean, how do I move forward? And it felt like failure. Well, what I learned from that experience is that it wasn't failure. It was just iteration. It's kind of like if you're someone who's thinking about a gadget or a product and you have a few iterations, like first you have the drawing and then maybe you get a manufacturer to design it and then you see it for real. And then it's like, I want to change the color. I don't like where this piece is landing or how this functions. And then you go through an iteration, another iteration until it gets perfected. And see, that was just an iteration for me. And from that, like someone would say, it was the phoenix, that came from the ashes moment. But from that, it was rebuilding something that I could be proud of and that could be sustainable. And understanding what that was meant that I had to break my belief of I know everything. I can do it all. I needed to really lean into who is the best at this thing. I will pay them to teach me how to do that thing the way that they do it and actually do it. And I believe that those are three major principles that are so simple, so straightforward, but oftentimes most people don't do it. So I'm sure you can, you can relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love that you say iteration. That's really cool because I think that there's a lot of iterations that you have to do, especially when just the world changes. And
Yes.
especially now with how technology has been moving along. I mean, if you think back to even 50, 100 years ago, probably very few of these businesses would have existed the same way.
Yeah.
So how can you not change, right? There are, you mentioned this tsunami coming. Yeah, there's things coming. There are things that are changing and you got to adapt to that. And so, but I like also, you're mentioning, like, isn't it interesting how if you were to like separate yourself from yourself and give yourself
Yeah.
this business advice, are you actually taking the business advice that you would give yourself, right? Because I hear you. I find sometimes I would like look at things and I go, I wouldn't even suggest this to my friend. And here I am doing it because I'm like, oh yeah, no. I know what I'm supposed to do. It's fine. It's fine. I'll handle it, right? Isn't that interesting
Right.
how that works, eh?
Yes, exactly. And I don't know where it comes from. I want to blame it on corporate America, but I know that it's deeper than that. And to break away from that is just doing something, just trusting someone else. Honestly, it's a fear. It's fear. It was fear bottled up in, I guess this identity that just really doesn't fit me. And I knew it didn't fit me.
Yeah.
I knew it. It's like deep down, you just subconsciously, that you're not where you need to be. But environment says, right, like where we live, where we work, what we need in terms of financial stability, it's like that says that's going to dictate who I am. And that's very false. That's not real. We get to customize our reality. We get to do that. And I know that sounds flowery, but it's real. It's true. It's factual. It has been proven scientifically that we get to design our world. Now, if we get more people to believe that, can you imagine the type of impact we would have in the world, Tim?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, and I hope that that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
By just going ahead, and because I do think that those of us who have, forged this path, we're sort of lighthouses for the people around us that
Yes.
are looking at us and going like, okay, so they're making it happen. Okay, well maybe I can make it happen too, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that you see sort of, whatever, somebody on TV or like it's infomercial and you're like, that's not a real person, right?
Right.
But if you start to see real
Right.
people in your own life, and they're having some success, and whatever that success means to you, I think that that's another misconception as well, is that people think that
Yeah.
success is like $1 million. Well, success
Mm-hmm.
can just be having the flexibility to work when you want to work, to be able to, you know, go to your children's recitals or whatever it happens to be,
Yeah.
right? Just to have that little flexibility. I mean, wouldn't that be? I mean, if you're working in a job, you're not a millionaire. Well, you could be, but
Mm.
but you're probably
Yeah.
not. So what's the
Yeah.
difference? Why not have a little bit of
Yeah.
flexibility, right?
Statistically, yeah, exactly. And it like it's the simplest practice. I remember my coach had me do this practice. It honestly took maybe in 30 minutes to do, but it has transformed the way that I look at money.
Mm,
And I just defined, what would it take for me to be comfortable? Now we get to define what comfortable is, right?
yep,
Maybe you
yep.
want to be a millionaire. Maybe you're good with like 300K and you're good. Like maybe you just need 100K a year. Like whatever your comfortable like level is.
Yep.
And then figure out, okay, so if this is where we are comfortable, does that include all the things that I desire to do in my life? Maybe it's travel the world. Maybe it's to invest. Maybe whatever it is. Like seeing your kids at the recital, you can't take those moments back. You can't get those again. Like, so what does it take? How much does it cost to do those things? Maybe it's to buy a car or to, learn how to like ride a motorcycle, like whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, just go searching, just Google, find out how much it costs, go to chat, AI, and just ask AI, how much does it cost on average in my area to do this thing? Start adding it all up. And what happened after I did that, Tim, is that I saw that my number was really easy to get.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I don't actually have to work crazy. I don't have to like turn myself inside out or divorce myself from family and friends to start a business. Like that doesn't have to happen. I get to enjoy my life as I'm building a business. And honestly, that really just changed the way that I look at money. And so when people talk about money, and actually just this morning I was calling a service to confirm something, and she told me the total, and I think it was like $2,700. And she's like, it's like 2714. I'm looking at the receipt right now. And she said to me, I paused. I didn't actually say anything. I was actually writing it. And she says, I know that's a lot of money. And it kind of just like stored in my mind. And I thought, wow, she's telling me about what she thinks about money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And $2,700, it depends on who you're asking how
Depends
much
on what you're
that
buying.
is. Right? Like it's all the ROI. It's like the
Yeah.
result. And so I thought to myself, wow, this is so powerful. If more people can hear how they hear other people talk about money, right? It's our environment that we have to change. And then how we talk about money.
Yeah.
Do we say, oh man, that's way too expensive to transform my life forever? Like $2,700? Oh my gosh. Like, or are we actually increasing our value by understanding our value? Because I know that I'm way more valuable than $2,700.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so there's this like, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, and also like I do sort of like notice this thing because when people talk to me in a job or in their corporate careers, as you move up the ladder and you make more and more money, it seems as though the stress, time commitment, both of those things end up just increasing exponentially. So
Yeah.
I think that there may be some of that, like that's just kind of like ingrained in
Mm-hmm.
us because as I've spoken to so many people who are self-employed here, and that's not necessarily the case when you're running your own business. As you make more money, you don't necessarily spend like exponentially more time. In fact, actually, a lot of times it's less time. You end up
It's
being
less.
more efficient, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's like a bit of a misconception that people will think, okay, well, I'm sitting in my corporate job. This is what I make. I'm working around the clock to make this money. And they think, okay, well, if I transition into a business,
Yeah.
well, what is my life going to look like? And then all this uncertainty. And so they just think it's so much
Mm-hmm.
harder and so much more stressful when, first of all, like you said, maybe that number is actually a lot smaller than you actually need. And then on top of
Yeah.
that, maybe you can actually work more efficiently to get there, right? Because your
Mm-hmm.
boss decides how much you need to work in order to get that that paycheck, right? You decide how
Yes.
much you need to work for your own paycheck, right?
Yeah. 100%. And that's what I used to teach is I used to host these in-person workshops called Business Clarity Breakthrough, and to educate people and say they're paying you in a job what they're paying you because that's what they're willing to pay you for what you do.
Yeah.
That is not say that is the value of what you do, because the value, see, any business owner, and this is something that everybody needs to know and understand. And if you guys know what it is, then just like lock in, is any role in your company, whether it's software, contractors, employees, even yourself, everything has to have a return on investment.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as I need to pay you your worth. There, like it, it's impossible. But
Mm.
I can pay you the value that I have defined for that role. So the other things that they're not paying you for is the software that you need, the computer, the cubicle, the AC, the water, the plumbing, the office building. That is all calculated into you in that role. You just
Mm.
don't, it doesn't go through your bank account, but they're paying for you to be there.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different thing. And 100%, you the more you charge on in your business, the freer you are. You know, when I started doing corporate events, corporate workshops, in-person trainings, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many hours would it take to prepare for this? And how much does it cost to do this and that? And I mean, I got so many yeses so quickly, Tim.
Mm.
Just they were like, yes. Like I didn't even have to send them a proposal. I'm like, wow, this is so easy. I could do this forever. And then my coach was like, no, you're charging way little for the biggest return that they're going to get. They have team members that need to learn what you're teaching them that will result in millions and billions of dollars. That is not a 3 or 4 figure offer. That is a 5 to 6 figure offer. And I had to get comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, I believe, the unlock is understanding how to charge premium, because we're not charging premium because that's like what we want to make. It's like charging premium because that's based off the result that I can deliver.
Yeah.
And knowing what that result is. And it's really simple. We just ask the question. We say, hey company, hey business owner, or hey customer, what would it like once you have this thing, what would it do for your life? What would you not have to do anymore? What
Yeah.
would, what type of freedom would you have? And they're like, oh my gosh, it would help me to do this, this, and this. Then you get to measure your ROI on that based off that, which is like it's like a fraction, but way more than hourly or, competitive based pricing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think most of us have like this I'm not enough programming in us
Yeah.
too that hold us back from but that's one of those things that I think as you start your business, and I'm sure many people experience this, that you sort of going on what you think you're worth, right? Because
Yeah.
that's just what you've been programmed to do. And then you start looking
Yes.
around and you start seeing these other competitors that are just crushing it. And you're like
Yes.
looking at the value that they're providing, you're like, whoa, I'm so much more than that. And
Yes.
they're charging so much more than I'm charging. And all of a sudden it's just kind of this wake up moment that you're like, okay, well, obviously I'm not charging enough. I need to
Yeah.
break through this. But it is really, really hard to break that programming that you have because,
Mhm.
as soon as someone sort of like pauses, at your price, you're like, oh, but I can give you a discount, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Yes. Yes. I remember the day my coach said, she's like, you're gonna increase your retainer to 8,000. It was 8,500. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's 12 months, over 12 months, 8,500. Oh my gosh, that's like 8,500 a month. And she's like, yes. Okay. So she said, you need to tell them that you're going to send them an invoice for that, right? You're going to amend the agreement. Okay. Yes. Okay. Got on the phone, shaky voice. And she said, say it and then shut up. I said, okay. So I was like, it's 8,500. And I held my breath. I looked down like I was writing something. And I was just thinking, dear Lord. And they're like, okay, just send us the invoice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hung up. I sent the invoice. And then again, Tim, it came up again. I was just like this anxiety. Asked my husband. I didn't sleep until they had paid that. I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. They're going to say no. They're going to realize that they made a mistake. They're going to, maybe they thought I said 850 and not
Hmm.
8,500. And like all of these things just started like coming to mind. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But if I waited until I was ready, it would have never happened. I just needed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing how that works, right? And then
Yeah.
on the other hand, like I don't know what your experience is, but what about the people that actually do bark at that price and want you to discount the price? How are they to work with
Mm.
usually?
Oh man, it's the best thing. It's actually really, it is what and then let me talk about
Mhm.
how it felt the first time I had heard that. I remember he said, oh my gosh, we would never pay that. I
Hmm.
remember him saying that. And I said, okay, I understand. I appreciate it. Da, da, da. I hung up the phone. I didn't respond or react to it at all. I was just like, you're right. I'm not valuable.
Yeah.
I will accept what you say that I am. And it's like I'm not even selling me, I'm selling the transformation, I'm selling the service, right?
Right.
So I had to mature through that. And now I see this as the best thing ever because everybody is trying to figure out what's in the mind of the buyer. And
Hmm.
I have somebody saying, I will never pay that. I should have said, and I wish I would have said that, but it's okay. I can move forward. Is
Yeah.
man, tell me why. What do you think that like what oh, I understand. Like, so you would never pay for this. Why? Here's the thing, like, they're gonna tell you. They're going to tell you why. Well, because blah blah blah. Oh, I understand. And I could have transitioned that into marketing research and even close the sale. I could have closed the sale because once I helped him understand what he was actually getting versus just something on a proposal, which,
Hmm.
by the way, please don't ever send a proposal blindly. In fact, get on the phone with them, get in Zoom, and like go through proposals with them together. And if they ask you to send the proposal, especially for corporate clients, if they ask for, oh, just send me the proposal, actually, I would be more comfortable to get on the phone. Like, can we go ahead and schedule a time for us to go through it together so that I can answer your questions in real time?
Yeah.
If there's anybody else that needs to make a decision, please, let me know and I can add them to that Zoom link or that calendar invite.
Yeah.
I don't send proposals anymore, because what happens is they make their own justification and then they delay making decisions, and then it slows down the entire sales pipeline.
Agree.
So when someone gives an objection, which this is what it's called, it's like they're rejecting it. They're like, oh, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? I actually see this as an opportunity to learn more about my audience. And if I can find out what they believe, what they're believing is way more valuable than what I believe. Because if I understand what they believe, if I understood now it's just like, I really don't know what he was believing, but if he believed, for example, that I can get it cheaper, or I can just hire someone as an employee to do it. Absolutely. Hire someone to do it. And you know what? Guaranteed it's gonna cost more than $8,500 a month.
Yep. Yep.
Well, no, because the salary is, well, overhead expenses, health benefits, and then onboarding. That's expensive. At least a small business corporation of 50 plus invests about $5,000 to $10,000 per employee during onboarding, not including benefits or salary or tools or softwares or anything. So 100% go hire someone, or hire a consultant. Where here in the United States, I'm not sure about Canada, you probably could speak on that, is here in the United States, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So you're really actually not paying anything. So then it's not really 8,500. Correct.
Yeah.
It's not something you need to concern yourself with. It doesn't hurt your bottom line, doesn't impact you in any way. But these are all things that we get to talk about in a Zoom call and record that Zoom call. And that way you can actually create marketing content and hit those objections ahead of time before it comes up. And man, you're going to be a rock star.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I mean, when it comes down to it too, the people that, number one, I mean, I guess there's probably two main reasons why someone might not want to hire you at that rate. One is because they don't actually want what it is that you're that you're offering.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't need it as much as they thought they might. Maybe they're just shopping around and they're like, okay, well, that's not in my budget right now, so no problem. That just is what it is. Or they're like really difficult clients to work with. Because that happens as well too. I find the ones that like lowball you and stuff like that are the hardest to work with, versus the ones that just want to pay your price are so much easier, right?
Oh no, 100%. Like if someone comes circle, no, I don't want to pay for 85. I want to pay 35. Would you be okay with 35? I'd say no, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be the right fit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like those are people that I don't even entertain.
Yeah.
Or honestly, now I don't even get to the point where I share the investment, because my investments are a lot larger than 8,500. So I actually interview them as much as they're interviewing me. I'm qualifying them to make sure that they're going to be the right fit, because I've learned not all money is good money. I know that's like cliche, but it's real. It could really, one rotten apple spoils a bunch. It's true. I've my team members have experienced it, and it's 100%.
Yeah. And from the client perspective too, well, like what you said earlier, they likely know what it's worth. And so when you give that price, I mean, the funny thing is that if your price is too low, that's going to raise alarms for them.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, they don't really know what they're doing, right? Whereas if you come right in, like at where it should be, they're more likely to go, yep, we know that that's that cost. We know that we're kind of value we're getting for that, and they're up for that, right?
I challenge that second one, because I think it's about packaging. I think it's about experience and packaging. Of course, if I'm going to help the business unlock a revenue stream of 100 million, and I go in with $1 million investment, it's going to be hard to digest because it's not packaged properly.
Okay, yeah.
But there are ways to package it so that it equates to $1 million if that's the true result that I'm getting for them.
Yeah.
So it could be a partial commission state or, like half front, or it's just, these are all like deal making strategies. But what I had to divorce myself from is believing that there's a limit to how much someone would pay me for. And because if I put a limit to how much someone will pay me, then I'm putting a limit to how much value that I offer. And I have unlimited value for people. It's just a matter of like what they need and just delivering on what that is with integrity.
Wow, right on. Wow, time flies. Hey, let's get into your guest solo. Tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Oh man. So, okay. Gosh, it's the transformation. It's adding a revenue stream to existing businesses and even helping people who want to buy a business add a government contract, a revenue stream. And it doesn't matter where you live. Even in Canada, there are contracts with, in government.
You're right.
But they're just everywhere. There's opportunities everywhere, and it doesn't require you to leave your home. Wow. So I'm excited to serve people in that way, just to kind of stabilize their business so that they can have more freedom to do whatever they want.
So what would like someone who's going to get the most out of working with it, what do they look like? Like what situation are they in where they're like, okay, I really need Melinda right now?
They're a subject matter expert who has experience delivering on results in a service business, whether it's yours, whatever you can list on your resume or your existing business. And we just work with you to find opportunities that are going to be the best fit for your business based off your business plan, and make sure that it works strategically so that you can, get the result that you want, which is usually more freedom, more time, more money to invest, or just stabilize business. Delegate is huge for our clients, that they want to delegate so that they're not the go-to for everything. So that's how we do that. We help them do that. Yeah.
Okay. So what kinds of services do you help them with? Like, are you more like a coach or a matchmaker? Like, what is it you do?
So I help people install a revenue stream of government contracts to their business.
Okay.
So while the industry is volatile, government contracting is consistent and predictable. And so sometimes we need that predictability to, plan our life past a month, right?
Right. Okay, that's excellent. So really it's you're more or less a subject matter expert on those more stable contracts rather than, where they're probably doing right now, which is going out and getting, business to business contracts probably at the moment, right?
Well, business to business is actually great. It keeps you as an authority and an industry expert in the eyes of a government agency.
Okay.
So you do want both. I don't recommend doing one or the other. I do recommend having both because they serve each other. So if that makes sense, private now serves government, and it looks like, wow, you can work with a government agency. You can pretty much do anything because your business has to be structured, has to be stable. It's like, that's the perception people have. And of course, that's attractive to other businesses that are thinking, I'm not sure if you actually do what you say you do. So that's one. And then on the government side or the public sector side, it shows as you're an authority ahead of what the government is doing, because they're looking for industry experts all the time, especially right now, as things are just transforming and evolving with AI. They want real people to help them with the problems they have. And you, Tim, you would not believe the problems that they have are things that we dealt with 5 years ago. Like, they're still trying to figure it out because government is always going to be behind. And that's a benefit to a small business owner when you can say, we have gone through this, we've helped our clients through it, and here's our case studies, here's one after another, and educate them on how to source those contracts, how to hire the vendors, what the work needs to actually look for, and then obviously ultimately getting awarded the contract itself.
I love that. And so the process of working with you, I think you mentioned that you're going to get on a call with them and that.
Yeah. So the first thing is, if anybody's interested, you can find me on LinkedIn, just Melinda Colón. You can see my beautiful face on there. And once we connect, and you would apply to schedule a call with me, because we don't take everyone. We do give you guidance and direction wherever you're at. But for those that are qualified to have a conversation, we would take it to the next step, talk through your business plan, your goals for your business, and then help you develop a strategy to install government contracts into your business plan. This is about helping you get to your goal, not changing your goal.
I love that. That's great. And so LinkedIn is the best way for them to contact you then?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So now one more question. Let's get into a little
Yeah.
bit of music. Like,
Okay.
who is your favorite rock star or band?
Rockstar. Oh man. Or band. Okay, I'm gonna say band.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, should I say this aloud?
Why not?
Oh gosh, what am I gonna say? I'm gonna say AC/DC.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
You like the rock.
Yeah. It's great music to listen to, just to kind of like get stuff done. Yeah.
Have you ever seen them in concert?
I haven't, no. Have you?
No. I missed
Yeah.
out on it too because they did come to my city and I just wasn't able to go. It's too
Yeah.
bad. It would be such a high
Yeah.
energy show, right?
Yes. And like that's why I love it.
Yeah.
It gets you moving.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Melinda, for rocking out with me today. This has been a ton of fun.
This is fun. Thank you so much for having me, Tim.
Awesome. And to the listeners, make sure you go to workathomerockstar.com for more information, and we'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.